Welcome to All Lacrosse Live. It's Sunday night, 9 o'clock, and I'm Gary Groob in Toronto. And with me, I have Shawn Slaght, and I have no idea where in Saskatchewan.
I just saw the moose jaw today.
The moose jaw. The world traveler is still on his world-class tour.
Around Saskatchewan.
Yeah, well, it's around Saskatchewan, yeah. Spreading cheer and Muffler Mike fan club buttons. Awesome. And, of course, in Connecticut, I have Muffler Mike Kostiuk. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good, Gary.
That's awesome. I just got a message from Matt. Matt Martin was going to be our guest tonight. He's going to have to do it another week. He is still busy with other things. It'd be great to have him on because we're planned on talking about, of course, about Alfie and about Rex and Oren Lions and life on the res and all that. And it's going to be fantastic once we can get it all coordinated. But probably in the next week to 2 weeks, we will have that all done for you. As well, I had a long chat with Bill Baroza, who is heading up Team Israel. And I should be talking with him this week, and hopefully we'll get him on, talking about that, talking about his days in the mill and in the NLL, and also about his new company, which is training equipment. So that should be pretty cool as well. Oh, my gosh. Eduardo, hello. How are you? Good to have you with us.
Hey, Eduardo.
But, yeah, let's get on to some of the network things. We got a lot of things to cover. We have all kinds of movement going on in WLA and MSL. We have all kinds of different games to cover. Plus, I believe the World thing was on, wasn't it? The World Fuel thing? You know, they came to a conclusion, right? You'll find out from us what
bunch of countries got together.
Yeah, a bunch of people.
That's
they sat down, relaxed for a bit, you know. Really nice time. Everybody's on the beach, got a tan. Or burn. Anyways, let's go to episodes are streamed live across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and also Twitch. And you can catch all the action on elpsports.com. Remember to smash the subscribe, follow, and like buttons, and always share. Enjoy our affiliates. As you can see, we have many, many shows. One of my favorites is becoming that new Steel Steps one. That's a really cool wrestling show. And, of course, one of our associates, Pat Bernard, is one of the gentlemen on that show, so you want to catch that. But some of the other affiliates are the Broad Street Bully Podcast, Philly Press Box Radio, Edge of Philly Sports Live, Bird's Eye Q, Patterson Avenue Fanatics, Talking Philly Sports with Matty B, Devereaux Sports, The Painted Lions, and Party on Broad. If you've missed a show, no worries. You can grab all the podcasts on any of the major podcasting companies, which include Amazon, iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, and Spotify. As well, you can catch us on YouTube, on the EOP Sports YouTube channel, or if you're looking for our show in particular, at the All Across All the Time YouTube channel, in which there's more than just shows. There's interviews, there's press conferences, lots to take a look at. There's some of the Fisticuff Friday stuff up there, as well as there'll be retro games coming really, really soon. Remember, you can stay up to date with all sports by visiting eopsports.com with great articles from our huge staff of contributors. And while you're there, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter. If you're like me and need a drink, Dolan's is your place to go at 24 East Sellers Avenue over in Ridley Park. If you want to check it out, first go to dolansbar.com, where they have music, great times, memorabilia giveaways, all kinds of things, great atmosphere, great food, and great people. Get your butts on over to 24 East Sellers Avenue to Dolan's. Sherry's Ticket Town. Sherry'sTickets.com is easy to use and has no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. Pay less and play more with Sherry'sTickets.com. Save even more by using the exclusive promo code EOP10. Don't pay hidden fees and save 10%. Why use any other ticket reseller and get those hard-to-come-by tickets to the big game? If you need more of a personal touch, give them a call at 610-494-5050 or visit their office at 1382 Nauman's Creek Road, Suite 1, Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania. Sherry'sTickets.com also has great theater and concert tickets that are hard to get your hands on. Remember, don't overpay with the rest. Save with the best. Sherry'sTickets.com. PhillySportsTrips.com is the place that you want to go if you're looking to go on any excursion. Right now, they're doing a number of different things for the Phillies and for the Union and are still waiting on the Eagles to work out some of their long-term plans throughout the fall and winter. but you want to get over to phillysportstrips.com. You're not going to find any better prices than what you got there. If in some of these little excursions you get into a little bit of legal problem, David R. Cherry Esquire and his firm, the Cherry Firm, would be more than happy to try and help you out of it. Workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal law, the Cherry Firm will give you a hand. Just go to www.cherryinjurylaw.com or give them a call at 610-565-0300. Tell them the EOP boys sent you, and they will hook you up. Well, guys, a few things that are upcoming here in Ontario. Next weekend, it's finally here, guys, is the Rod McDougall Celebrity Lacrosse game, plus an entire day of events over at the track in Oakville. 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock, you got the paperweight tournament. At 3 o'clock, you've got the juniors with the McDougall Cup, Burlington Blaze versus Oakville Buzz. At 6 o'clock, you got the under-11 Battle of Burlock, the Burlington Blaze versus the Oakville Hawks. And the big one is at 7 o'clock, where the Celebrity Lacrosse game happens, where you will have stars from all over, different sports, as well as old lacrosse guys, all kinds of things happening. Additional details is there's a silent auction, Cameron's Brewery Beer Garden, food, 50-50, and live music. $10 is all it costs, and kids 12 and under get in for free. All proceeds will be donated to Kids Sport Ontario, hashtag so all kids can play. 2 weeks after that, you will get to see the real comedies of lacrosse, and the Fan Cup comes to Oakville. There is tons of things going on. There will be food. There will be booze. There will be lots of lacrosse being played. There is silent auctions going on. Plus, there are other little things to, try and negotiate with to bring home to your home. But, the Fan Cup is on in 2 weeks. Yours truly will be playing in it with the Roadies again, and it should be a blast. Remember our motto, win or lose, we drink the booze. Shows you the kind of lacrosse you're about. Anyways, guys, it has been a crazy week. Let's go through a few things. First off, I want to say thank you, to everybody for all the support through the month of June for Indigenous Heritage Month. Hopefully, all of the articles daily that with little snippets of YouTube's and magazine snippets, we're able to bridge the gap of understanding between Native and non-Native, and try and push us forward that we can all get along and figure this all out. Because really, the creator's game is just that. And when Matt comes on, we'll talk about that. Because one of the things that Alfie had said was, we play for the creator, yes. And the creator gave us the grass so we can play on it, and gave us the trees so it can make sticks. So everything gets used. Everything is about Mother Earth and the creator and giving homage to the creator. So, I really look forward to getting Matt on the show. It's going to be a fantastic time. Signings. Well, we might as well start with the coaching staff, right? And Tracy Kostiuk has signed a multi-year deal with the Panther City Lacrosse Club. And as he says, I am extremely grateful to continue along this journey with our group of players and the Panther City staff. I've been fortunate to be surrounded by people in our club who bring out the best in me, including all the men and women involved with our team, management, player personnel, and the front office. They all have played a massive part in setting the highest standard while continuing to raise the bar on the daily. We're looking forward to raising the bar yet again and to taking another step in our goal of winning an NLL championship. And that was doubled by GM Bob Hamley, who had mentioned, today marks another great day in Panther City Lacrosse Club's short history. I'm thrilled to have Tracy continuing to lead our group for years to come. The leadership he provides make this extension our utmost priority this offseason. He has instilled a one-of-a-kind culture that we all are very proud of, and we know our club's best days are ahead of us with TK leading the way. Well, when your boss is saying that, that is a ringing endorsement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. A few more signings before we get to the multitude of trades. Ryan Smith has been signed to a 2-year contract with the Rochester Nighthawks. And they, of course, were busy with the Tyler Biles 2-year contract. Want to keep him there for sure. Mike, you had a couple of signings also that I didn't have on this thing, didn't you?
Yeah, I believe so. Halifax has quietly
Very
been
quietly.
signing some folks. I mean, I've seen posts on their Facebook page, but Tyson Bell, Trevor Smith, Colton Armstrong, and Cole Kierst, who I think was a draft pick this year, all signed 2-year deals, and then head coach Micah Kersey re-upped for another year. So,
Cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Hey, Patrick. What's up, fellas? The heavyweights are out. Yes.
they
Just talking
definitely
about
are.
your
Yes,
Steel
indeed.
Steps broadcast, man. I love it. I love it. Okay, good enough of the wrestling, baby. Being a former one myself. But anyways, let's keep going to some of these movements. Albany re-signed Mike Byrne. Here's a big one for you MSL people. Is Eli McLaughlin is going to Peterborough. So Peterborough and Six Nations keep going 1-for-1 with each other because Six Nations just took Tim Edwards. And in return, the Excelsiors get a 5th-round pick in the 2024 draft. Yeah, that's a big one. Everybody keeps matching one another. These are 2 all-star teams that are going head-to-head. I do plan on going on the 20th up to Peterborough for the Six Nations Peterborough game. Everybody should be back and rested from the Worlds, and we can't wait to see what happens there. Talking about another big signing is Steve Priolo is going back to the Victoria Shamrocks. If you remember, I have his jersey. That's a big signing. That will get some leadership, and that might right the ship enough because, of course, Victoria has been not doing the best.
Middling.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing Victoria tonight. See, I got the showing. Go team, go. Couple of trades to talk about. Let's talk first about the Sorchetti trade. Future considerations go over to the Shamrocks. New West receives Sorchetti for the remainder of the 2023 season. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it looks like, Windsor's just trying to stay in the mix right now. We'll get to kind of what Langley's been doing, but being at the top of the standings, I think they're just trying to stay in the mix there with that trade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely provide some defensive depth.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the next one we have is we have Brett McIntyre going to Nanaimo. Future considerations to be agreed upon by June 30th. Well, it's already been June 30th. But Brett McIntyre for the remainder of the 2023 season to Nanaimo. And the playing rights to Isaac Bott go over to Coquitlam. So Coquitlam's been busy this week as well. One more for the this is a little interesting one. This is Cole Hanrahan of the Arena Lacrosse League and of Ontario Series Lacrosse. He's been playing with the James Gang and Ennismore. And he is also rights of the Peterborough Lakers. And the Lakers traded his rights to the Coburg Kodiaks. So we'll probably see him dressed up as a Kodiak. And they traded Cam Milligan, who has been playing with the Ontario Series Lacrosse Oakville Rock. And they have taken him over in Peterborough, which is where, by the way, he started. And, of course, Dad, Jim Milligan, was a coach there for many, many years and was also a coach with Coburg, for that matter. While we're at the Oakville Rock, they took a couple of your Saskatchewan Rush guys, Shawn.
They did, yeah.
Yes, they did. Dan Lintner is now part of the Oakville Rock, and Ryan Dilks is now part of the Oakville Rock. Continuing along with that all-star team. So instead of it being 28-3, it now will be 47-2. So we'll see. That team is incredible. Yet they didn't have a good week. We'll get to the OSL stuff. They won both games, but they didn't have the games I expected. But anyways, let's keep moving along here. The big one this week, of course, was the Del Bianco trade. Langley acquires the rights to Christian Del Bianco for the remainder of the 2023 WLA season. And over to Coquitlam go the rights to Keegan Bell and Jordan Roberts. Thoughts, guys?
Yeah, that's a big one. Because even if you don't see Del Bianco in the regular season, heading towards Man Cup, Langley also has the rights to Jeff Teat. Obviously, Jeff Teat's right in the PLL right now, but if he's free come Man Cup, you've now got Jeff Teat along with Dane Doby, Curtis Dixon, Connor Robinson, Robert Church. Now you add in Christian Del Bianco along with Frank Sciliano as the 1-2 punch in goal. they're definitely gearing up for that Man Cup run and winning it on home soil.
Absolutely. Good evening, Grant. And you are right, Eduardo. It's an insane trade.
Yeah.
There's been a bunch of those things. I want to also say hello to Katie Pellis. Welcome to the show. Thank you for following along. Mike, what's your thoughts on this?
Yes, yeah. So I mean, my first thought obviously was I thought it was a little odd considering that one, Del Bianco hasn't been playing. Two, Chiliano has been playing and playing very well. You have to wonder if there's maybe a little connection there because obviously they both played in Calgary under Kurt Malosky, who's now coaching Langley.
Interesting enough, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of thought, well, it seems kind of weird. Is this going to cause controversy? Do they not have faith in Chiliano? Which I don't believe that's the case. I wonder if this is more look at the other side of the trade and the guys that Coquitlam's getting, and maybe it's just a matter of, hey, listen, we're going to send you. Obviously we're sending you to a team that's struggling right now, but you're going to get a chance to play, and not be kind of sitting on the bench watching all our superstars play, so when you consider the other guys in the trade, it's a chance for them to get playing time, to grow, to improve their games, which
Absolutely.
that's always needed, no matter where you are, which league you're in, what level of play.
I was also thinking maybe exhaustion, because did he run out of fuel a little bit coming into the playoffs last year? Now, granted, there's no traveling across country for Langley this year. If it was in Langley, it would be in Langley. But between all of the series, plus he had a long run last year with San Diego and everything else that went on, could it be just splitting it up in moral support, or Del Bianco, instead of having to see 600 shots in the summer, can only have to see 300 shots in the summer and call it a nice summer vacation?
And the way I see it too with Mike makes a good point, but the way I see it, again, we go back to it starting with that domino falling when Langley picked up the rights to Teat. That's where you started them seeing kind of stacking that roster, looking towards a Man Cup.
Right.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. I mean,
Sure.
we have to remember they were 20 minutes away from a Man Cup last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
And you take a look at what Six Nations has done, and they have to do something if they want to compete. The team they have is great, but Six Nations, again, has put together an all-star team. Just the guys who aren't dressing is enough to win a Man Cup most years. So
True.
So fight fire with fire. So get it where you can. And if you're going to get the MVP of the NLL goalie-wise, why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when your head coach is there. I'm sure that was a deciding factor for Del Bianco too. It would make it that much easier for him to do it, right?
Yeah, because I was heard kind of laughing off air before this. You have to remember, Del Bianco was the one who unseated Chiliano in Calgary for that starter job.
That was a tough 20 minutes, Muffler Mike. But Eduardo, on the other side of the coin, I was in Peterborough, and I was in the arena, and that was a very jubilant 20 minutes
for them. Yes.
Yes. It was a very, very, very energetic 20 minutes, if we want to look at that. So, yeah. And Rod Jensen was very funny, calling himself the Buffalo Bills of Lacrosse, since that was his fourth Man Cup that he'd gone to and lost. So Rod still has a good sense of humor. He was a fantastic interview. Anyways, why don't we jump over to a little bit of junior. Shawn, start out with some of the Western stuff.
Yeah, you bet. So we'll start off maybe at Tuesday night. We saw the Nanaimo Timbermen take down the Victoria Shamrocks 8-6. The next night, then 13-8, we had the Burnaby Lakers over the new Westminster Salmon Bellies. Thursday night, we had the Delta Islanders defeating the Langley Thunder 11-7. Friday, 12-4, it was Coquitlam Adnax over Port Coquitlam. 14-8, Nanaimo over Delta. Victoria over Langley 16-3 on Saturday. And then just this afternoon, we had Coquitlam over Nanaimo 11-9, and Victoria over Port Coquitlam 14-5. And then we have Delta and New Westminster later tonight, so we don't quite have a score on that. So our standings, as it looks, kind of, I'm more looking here at the playoff race, I guess. At this point, we have Coquitlam at 16-3. Right behind them is Victoria at 14-6. So they're more or less kind of dueling it out for first and second. You still have Nanaimo in the mix at 12-7. Then kind of that fourth, fifth place, they're kind of battling it out for the last playoff spot. The Port Coquitlam Saints are 9-1. And then we have Burnaby at 8-10.
Awesome. Over in the Ontario Junior League, we had a lot of games this week again. We had Mimico beating St. Catharines 8-5, Brampton over Peterborough 9-6, Orangeville just absolutely trouncing Six Nations 19-5. By the way, they're still undefeated. Whitby beat up on Mimico 10-9. Really close there. Oakville beating Peterborough 9-8 on the 28th. Burlington outlasted Whitby 12-8. The Toronto Beaches absolutely shut down the St. Catharines Athletics 7-2. Oakville outlasted Six Nations 10-8. The Beaches just annihilated Kitchener 16-1. They are ramping up at the right time. Burlington took over Brampton 10-5. St. Catharines was able to come back and beat Peterborough 11-10. Orangeville again yesterday beat Brampton 7-5. Burlington, I believe, beat Oakville. I have the score right here. Yes, Burlington beat them 11-8, and that's it for right now for scores. We have one more game upcoming, and of course that is St. Catharines and Mimico. In looking at the standings, you have Orangeville at 16-0. Right behind them, Burlington at 12-5, as well as Oakville at 12-5. The Toronto Beaches is starting to ramp up, 10-7. Mimico is 9-6 at the moment. Following them is St. Catharines at 8-10. Whitby at 7-11. Six Nations 6-9. Brampton 6-11. Peterborough 4-12. And Kitchener in the basement there at 1-15. Moving over to Ontario Series Lacrosse, they didn't have a very busy week. They only had 2 games. They had the Oakville Rock in both of them barely winning. With a team like that, that surprises me. Oakville beat Brooklyn 9-6 and just got by the Rivermen 13-12. So looking at the standings there, Oakville is 11-1. Doesn't matter what the score is as long as it's a victory, right? Behind them is Brooklyn at 8-5, Six Nations 7-4, Owen Sound at 7-4 with a tie. Six Nations with 2 ties puts them just above. Clearview at 1-10-1, and Ennismore at 1-11. The 4 playoff spots have already been decided. Now we're just going to wait to get into the playoffs. Yeah, a little surprising, guys, with that Oakville team, that these scores are so close, especially after the last weeks of seeing 27-3 and 18-1 and other things like that. So I don't know if they had trouble getting some guys out this week because some of those games were far out. So work during the week, right?
Right.
There was a little tournament over in the southern tip of the U.S. I tended to watch it live for a while. I believe the U.S. won. Yes, they did. A 10-7 victory over Canada, who came away with the silver. And the Haudenosaunee was 12-7 over Australia for the bronze. Congratulations to everybody there. Now, being one of the voting members of the media, I had until, of course, the halftime of the Canada-USA game to get my votes in. And, they chose Brendan O'Neill as the MVP of the tournament. Me personally, I had Austin Stutz myself. But, it is what it is. It's media and teams and everything else putting the votes in. 15 goals, 5 assists, nothing to sneeze at. When I show the rest of the stats, though, it's going to be a little bit strange. But congratulations to Brendan O'Neill on carrying home the MVP trophy. Well-deserved. He had a hell of a game. Just to put it in perspective of what he did in that game, hang on to your hats, guys. Pretty amazing goals. No cheating in any of that. And those last two that you watched, those were just daggers because Canada was mounting momentum. Yeah. Canada was never able to get a lead. They get down by 2, they catch up. They get down by 2, they catch up. Then it was down by 2, up, we get a goal, they get a goal, they get a goal, back and forth. Never able to catch up and surpass. So, the USA defense was spectacular. Blaze Reardon was spectacular. There's just no doubt about it. He is the best goalie around right now in field. Just to get a glimpse of the last couple of seconds of the game, just so you get the feel.
Sends it high into the air, and the U.S. rises to the top again. It's gold for the Americans.
Pretty amazing, eh? A lot of electricity. They had over 15,000 in the stands for that, which was amazing. Hey, Matt, glad to see you're back there okay. But we're looking forward to getting you on the show. We will get to you. I will get in touch with you, and we'll get into it in the next couple of weeks. No worries. Yeah, man, it was some crazy stuff. Now, here's an interesting thing. Dan Arestia, we all know from Twitter, he had a great idea. Canada and the U.S. should play a best-of-3 series, a game of field, game of box, and a game of sixes, and you have to use the same roster for all 3. That's ingenious.
That'd be fantastic.
That would play to the strengths of everybody, and a game that nobody's really familiar with. So
that's the thing, right? Like
spectacular.
If things would go the way it would, U.S. would probably take field, Canada would probably take box, and then we'd go into sixes, which anything can happen.
Absolutely.
It'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Now, just a few little statistics about this tournament. Yes, there was 15,000 that witnessed the U.S. and Canada, as well as the Haudenosaunee in Australia yesterday at Snapdragon Stadium. The thing that was really, really cool is more than 82,000 fans in attendance for this, for the 100+ games. Now, to answer that, well, that's only under 1,000 a game, blah, blah, blah. All right, here's how the stadiums work. In the lower tiered stadiums in San Diego State University, you've got stadiums that maybe seat 100 people with removable stands. So you have not a lot of people that can see the game. And the stands were generally fairly full for those as well. I know it because I was there. Then up above, you had a bigger field, which is also where the track and field stuff is done for San Diego State, with bigger stands for bigger games, hence the Japanese games and some of the other games like the Netherlands and Team Israel was up there as well. Then, of course, you had Torero Stadium, which seated, I believe, between 6,000 and 10,000, which is where Canada, England, Haudenosaunee, Australia, U.S. played their games, and those were pretty full for most of the games that I was at. So because you're seeing a few empty seats in Snapdragon, yes, it's a 35,000 seat stadium for the San Diego Aztecs NCAA football team. So 15 to 20,000 people, which is what you saw at the finals and what you saw at the opening ceremonies, is darn good, if you ask me. And to have 82,000 people when you're looking at these games during the week of work days, That to me is pretty impressive. Also, that this was broadcast into 190 plus countries. That's impressive too, because that's the goal of getting in the Olympics, to get it to another 280 countries, correct?
That's
So
kind of the point I wanted to.
yeah.
That's sorry, Gary. That's kind of the point I was like to make, is not only just the attendance, but I'd love to know what the viewership numbers were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm waiting to see that too. But for now, this is all I've got. But you know what? It's growing rapidly. And just to take a look at some of those other things, first of all, we had a history-making game in the playoffs where all the officials were female officials. It's about time. Jesus. The one on the far right there, she was also in the Rebeski tournament. And I hadn't realized that until just recent. But yeah, so she's a pretty good box official as well, let alone field. And believe me, if you don't think these guys are hustling, holy smokes, are these guys ever quick? And to try and keep up with the play when it's just three of them, man. So thank God that we're actually moving forward in all of this. You know, this is just a long time in coming. To take a look at the final standings, you'll see that the U.S. followed by Canada, Haudenosaunee 1, 2, 3. Australia, now here's the big one. Japan is 5th. Does that mean that in the next set of World Games, Japan takes that first group? From what I saw, they should. They deserve it. They outscored in round robin. They outscored their competition 70-6. So they're obviously in the wrong group now. So they should be moved up, I think. And the only way that program is going to get to where it has to be is if they're in a group like this where they have to be at their top game. The other thing to remember, Japan is all homegrown. It's none of these, well, my great-grandfather or his cousin's or second cousin to his niece's brother has a passport that used to say, you know, they're all from Japan. They're all homegrown. That makes it all the more impressive to me. 6th is England. Israel had a great showing. Now it's a fantastic team. Very quick. Nathaniel Solomon just keeps impressing me as an attacker. That's going to be a team you hear about for a long time. And we're going to have Bill Baroza on this show as well as on my other show again. I've had him on before. He's a fantastic guest, really interesting guy, and he's got a few other side things to discuss too. So looking forward to getting it together with Bill. Jamaica at number 8, another team that's up and coming. They had a terrific tournament, and they needed a game that Canada beat them 20-1, yes. But they needed a game like that to see where the program stands and what they need to do and how they need to do it. Now, a lot of these teams, Uganda included in it, even though they finished 30th, they spent the week with the other players like the Canadians and Americans, asking questions, finding out things, working on shots, working on trying to get better. This wasn't just a 60 minutes one day, we'll see you tomorrow. These guys live, breathe, sleep, eat, all of it, and want to get better continuously. That's how you grow a game. And now when we get people marketing it correctly and we get things going with TV contracts, having TSN and ESPN put all of these things on pluses and U's and wherever else they put it, it's fantastic. And you can see it in the numbers. It's growing. It has to keep moving. And it's all of our jobs to make sure that we get it out there to the people that don't know about it. And I know people are tired of listening to me, but you know what? They're going to keep hearing it until this becomes not a fringe sport anymore. Until this becomes just like we talk about hockey and how we talk about baseball. Moving along, we have Italy, had a great tournament. Puerto Rico, great bunch of fans there, always had huge numbers at their games. Boisterous, having a great time. Germany at number 11. Ireland at 12. Hong Kong. The Netherlands over at 14. Here, the Philippines. They've only had a program since 2012. They're 15th in the world now. That's pretty amazing. Tell me again how the game isn't growing? Right. Mexico, another good team coming up and coming. Scotland, France, Wales, Poland, Latvia, Peru. They only been in there one other World Cup. This was their second one, and this time around they were winning games. So they're moving forward, and their people are passionate. I spent a bunch of time at Epic Field in between games talking with them at their merch booth, and they are just elated and are looking forward to the next one. Czech Republic, who we know have great box teams, are now coming in there with terrific field teams as well. Sweden, New Zealand, Korea. They had a bit of a rough one, but, always smiling, always learning, always asking. Switzerland, Austria, Denmark, and, of course, Uganda, who were the party of it. Always with a smile, always working. Still, the best goal celebration I had seen to date. That first goal that they scored in history was spectacular. So, yeah, is the game moving? Absolutely. Good to see Israel and Jamaica in the top 10. Absolutely. And Eduardo, Japan, Israel, Jamaica, very impressive. Absolutely. And their games were so entertaining. Even when they're not winning, so entertaining. Yep. Absolutely.
Good point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, to take a look at some of these awards, we've already talked about Brendan O'Neill. Best attacker, Austin Stotts. Best midfielder, Brendan O'Neill. Best defender, Jacob Pizzino from Haudenosaunee. Good choice. Best goalkeeper, I say without a doubt, Blaze Reardon. Now, the all-world team, I voted for as well. Austin Stotts, Jeff Teat, Shinya Tateshi from Japan. Fantastic tournament. Brendan O'Neill, Michael Sowers, Josh Byrne, Graham Haas, Jacob Bizzetto, JT Giles Harris, and Blaze Reardon. Hopefully we can see some of the other countries start cracking these all-world teams, but as their programs get better, they will be able to crack these things no problem. Because there are a lot of players on these teams that absolutely had my head turning and looking at my program for, who is that? Who is that? Because they were just fantastic. Now, as they get more players like that, as they're up and coming and grow up with the game, it's one thing to hand a kid a stick at 22 years old. Go, here, learn this. But as we're starting to put the 5- and 6-year-olds into this thing, and they're starting to do what the North Americans are doing, guess what happens? Yes, it's just like hockey. Here we go. Points. Austin Stotts by a long shot. He had a great tournament. 38 points for him. Christian Cuccinello, 35 points. Shinya Tateshi from Japan. Per Anders Olters, 27 points. Hiroki Kananya from Germany, 26. John Piatelli, familiar name, 26 points. Randy Stotts had a great tournament, 25 points. Connor Foley, 24 points. Logan Ip from Hong Kong. Andrew Ortega from Peru, 23 points. Josh Sanchez, also 23 points. Now, do remember that some of these are against lower competition, so easier to get points if you were the top player on your team. I would say the ones that are more impressive are the Stotts ones, trying to get points against Canada, U.S., things like that. So pretty amazing stuff, though. More stats. This one blew me away. Face-offs won. John Jorginho, from the Philippines, 89 face-offs won to lead everybody. That's pretty impressive, don't you think, guys?
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
No, neither did I. When I saw this yesterday in an email, it was like, wow. Will Vitelli from Italy at 74, Thomas Roser from Wales, Nicholas Vasquez from Puerto Rico, Keiji Victor Ishii from Japan, Will Clarkson from New Zealand, then Trevor Batiste and T.D. Erlin from the U.S. Now, in their defense, they're splitting the faceoffs almost 50-50, correct? So if one of them was taking it, they'd probably be at 106, So Alex Mulholland from Sweden, from Scotland, and Luke McCallion from Sweden. Interesting that the majority of them are from all the other teams. You don't see Jake Withers. You don't see, some of the other teams,
Well, to your point again, I guess, Gary, some of those are like lower tiered teams as well. Mm-hmm. So it might just come down to the competition they're facing also.
Which also brings us to this one with the goalies, right? Save percentage. The number one save percentage is 65%. Ryan Richter's from Latvia. Shogo Ueshima from Japan. Remember that this guy was perfect in a couple of games. I believe that's Blaze Reardon, not Blake Reardon. 59.5. Thank you, World Lacrosse. Dan Morris from the Philippines at 56%. Andrew Morris from Israel, another fantastic guy and a fantastic player. And boy, is he a character on the field too. 55.6. Joe Walsh, love his band, From Ireland at 54.2. Joseph Varela from France. Andrew Bremgartner from Switzerland. Will Mark from Puerto Rico. And Sean Aaron rounds out the top 10 from Australia. Yeah, I'm amazed at this stuff and how up and coming these guys really are. Yeah, exactly. Face-off's just incredible. And you're right, too. Tadashi is outrageous. He is a juggernaut, and soon you'll see him.
Japan all around is just amazing.
PLL or even NLL will give him an opportunity in a training camp, see if he can adjust to the box game. But these are incredible, just to see that the rest of the world is catching up, which is what we need if we're going to grow this game. So, I'm really enthused about all this stuff myself personally. All right. If you if you guys are jonesing already for a little bit more road lacrosse upcoming, of course, we have the 2024 Women's Under 20 Championship, August 15th to 24th in Hong Kong, or the 2024 Box Championships for men and women, September 13th to 22nd in Utica, New York, coming up next year. Just stay up to date with worldlacrosse.sport for everything that you need to know.
I was going to say, sorry, Gary, don't forget the World Juniors as well.
That's right, the World Juniors in Saskatoon, where Sean will be at those, covering them for us. Pretty amazing. And should be some fantastic lacrosse. Pre-Minto, yeah?
Yeah, it's in August here,
Yeah. So it'll ramp right up into the Minto season, and we'll be going. And, of course, I'm doing my Haudenosaunee Nationals. Support, guys, support. We need to support these teams. Absolutely. And what a great bunch of people, too. And they travel well. It's heartwarming to see that, because as I found out, San Diego isn't around the corner. So to get there from all over the place is amazing. So kudos to all of the people who went. Kudos to all the people who tuned in. Kudos to TSN and ESPN for broadcasting everything to allow us to see everything. And to me, that's the first step is, I can get off the pulpit now. I'm not preaching to the choir anymore. Now we have a congregation. Because remember, the Sixes idea, and we've talked about this before for the Olympics, it's one thing with Mark Riccio talking about it with us on the other show for a grassroots thing, is it gets every kid to play all the time, learning the game without even knowing about it because it's constant motion, and you don't have somebody sitting at midfield hoping the ball doesn't come to them, kind of like the right fielder in baseball. Here, everybody is running around and learning and having fun. To get eyes on it, you want something that's quick and fast and not long, time-wise, for your television audience, especially one that is not very versed in it. Now, to get it to another 200 and something countries, once we get them, then we can teach them. Then we can give them the traditions, the cultures, the creators game, the medicine game. But if nobody's going to watch it, we have nobody to teach it to. So to get them to watch it, that's the key. And that's the goal. And 2028 for the Olympics hopefully is it. Yeah, Grant, you're right. Finally, some decent mainstream broadcasting. And for anybody who was talking about, we had the US ESPN guys. I do believe I heard Teddy Jenner doing a number of games. I do believe I heard Jumbo Elliott doing a number of games also. So, yes, they were there. So just because the big game, of course ESPN is going to put their people on it because they're used to doing the big games. So chill.
Still
relax.
Exposure.
If you want to hear them, there is a mute button on your TV. So, I think that would work too. You can call your own game if you'd like. Just saying. Anyways, that brings us over to some WLA action, guys.
All right. Well,
all righty.
Give Gary a break. You can have
He's getting hoarse. My God. Let me get off my pulpit for a minute, okay?
I'll start with the games from last Sunday. We had We had Nanaimo steamrolling Burnaby 15-5. Zach Mans 4 goals, 5 assists. Nathan Grennan 1 and 4. Really, the Timbermen took control in the second period, shutting out Burnaby 4-0. Devlin Shanahan back with the team now after his NLL Cup win with the Buffalo Bandits, 28 saves. For Burnaby, it was mostly Torrin Eccleston, 3 and 1. Jacob Dunbar, he had a goal and an assist, but unfortunately, the last few games his plays kind of dipped down a bit from the start of the season when he was leading the league in scoring. So then we had Coquitlam and Maple Ridge, and they actually ended up playing each other twice in a span of 3 days, which was kind of odd, a little scheduling quirk. But last Sunday night, they were in Maple Ridge. The Berards took control of the game with a shutout in the second period, 6-0, to win 8-4. Garrett Winter, 2 goals, 2 assists. Connor White, 2 and 1. Ryan Jones had 1 and 2, and Brandon Humphrey, 38 saves. Not much to speak of on the Coquitlam side, obviously, with only 4 goals scored.
Yeah.
But Coquitlam came back 3 days later and
beat on the Berards.
Yeah. Well, they won in overtime, 11-10. It's their first win of the season. So
to me, that's a beating on the Berards.
Off the schneid. So big games from some NLL guys, Clark Walter and Brett McIntyre, both with 3 goals, 3 assists. Luke Jaber, 2 and 0. Matt Delmonico, another NLLer, had the game-winning goal in overtime. Andrew Gallant made 35 saves for Coquitlam. For Maple Ridge, Ryan Jones, a goal and 7 assists. Pretty busy night. We had Drew Andre with 2 goals and an assist. Brett Kujala, a pair of goals. Will Clayton, 2 and 3. Brandon Humphrey, another 38 saves, back-to-back. This time it wasn't a losing effort. So,
alrighty. Yeah. That brings us over to Wednesday, and that was Langley over the Shamrocks.
Langley over the Shamrocks. Shamrocks continue to struggle, Gary. Yeah, 9-3 win. Langley over Victoria. Like Victoria, 1 goal in the first, and were shut out in the second, and that was pretty much good night after that. So let me pull up some of the stats here. Yeah, we had for the Thunder, Dane Dobie had goal, 4 assists. Robert Church, 2 goals, 2 assists. He continues to have a great summer. Connor Robinson, 1 goal, 2 assists. Dylan Kinnear, 2 goals and an assist. They had several different goal scorers all throughout this one. They continued to kind of try and right that ship in Victoria because things are not looking good.
Well, maybe Priolo can actually right the ship, but he gonna need some of his friends, I think. This is not getting uglier. You know, this has become my my new West. What's wrong with Victoria, man?
Yeah. Then I guess we move on to Thursday night, which was what we thought would be the marquee matchup, first place between Langley and New Westminster, and Langley easily took this one, 13-5. Which again, as we speak, Langley's making that run for the Man Cup, and it's starting to show now where they're beating up on even the top teams in the WLA. Because even heading into the final third period, it was 10-2 for Langley. Robert Church, again, huge night, 3 goals and 5 assists. Chiliano had 41 saves. And so let me throw a few more stats here. Connor Robinson, again, 4 goals, 3 assists. Nathaniel Kaznankov, a goal and 3 assists. Clay Scanlon, 2 goals and assists. Trey Mason, 2 goals and 1 assist. Dylan Kinnear, 2 goals, 1 assist. They're getting production all over the place.
Yeah, Langley.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against Langley right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
there's not a second team. It's not like MSL, which at least has Peterborough and Six Nations battling it out.
Well, we thought it was with New West, but I mean, just to be just shellacked, know, like this.
I guess
now I mean, I mean, Langley's already taken the regular season series with New West because I think they won the first game, back in week 1.
Yeah.
It was a lot. In fact, it was a lot closer than this one was.
Yeah. Another interesting stat too. Is Ryan Martell 0 points for New West against Langley.
Yeah.
So either he had a bad game or Langley just shut him down completely.
I'm going with number 2.
Yeah.
I just think Langley is just that good. Bar none. All right, that brings us over to the Timbermen and the Shamrocks.
Yeah, so Shamrocks woes continue. I think that's this is their 4th straight loss. Nanaimo 11-9. Taggart Clark hat trick for Nanaimo. Zach Mans again, he's having a great summer, 2-4. Unlikely source of offense for the Timbermen, Tyson Rowe, 2 goals and an assist. Colton Lidstone had 4 assists, and Devlin Shanahan again, coming right off that cup win, picking up where he left off last year for Nanaimo, 46 saves. And Victoria just not enough, and they can always seem to get one guy to do the scoring, but not
Right.
everyone. So you had Tom Vason with 3 and 1. But McCulley was held to a goal and assist. Patrick Dodds was held to a goal and an assist. Marshall King didn't find the net at all. He had 4 assists. So, but we're also hearing that they're rebuilding. So they really could be in that kind of in between where it's like, okay, well, we're rebuilding, but we're also trying to do things like bringing in Priolo to. You
got 2,800 people coming in to see it. You're going to have to give them some form of
product,
right?
You feel like even a team like Victoria, even if they're rebuilding, you think they become more competitive, I guess you could say.
That would be like Peterborough in the East. They may be rebuilding, but they're going to have to do something to get the 4,000 people in there, right? So
yeah.
I mean, right now they are holding on to that 4th spot, but really, I mean, this loss to Nanaimo, it puts them like 2.5 games behind Nanaimo, for 3rd place. They're still holding on to 4th, but they've got Maple Ridge breathing down their neck. Maple Ridge is only a game behind, and they still have 1 to play against Maple Ridge, and right now they've lost 1 and tied 1 against Maple Ridge. So,
and Maple Ridge is one of those teams that you just don't know from night to night what you're going to get, and they could easily just steal one on you.
Yeah, and I mean, if they put it together, then they're going to win that regular season series. So, and that's going to be big come playoff time. So, and I think I wrote that last week in my recap. The game they played after they tied Maple Ridge, that this tie could really. Could really work for them, but it could really work against them. And it's slowly starting to look like it's going to work against them come playoff time. So.
And then we had New West the next in the other game on that Friday night, just shellacking the Lakers.
Yeah, maybe that's something they kind of needed after the game against Langley, kind of right that ship.
It's like a Jekyll and Hyde team, really.
It really was.
And one night to the next.
Yeah, I mean, Burnaby did have a short, brief kind of lead in the first quarter, but after that, first period, sorry. After that, it was just kind of all New Westminster after that. I mean, Hayden Dixon had the sock trick. Keegan Ball, a goal and 4 goals and an assist. On the other side of the floor, Jacob Dunbar had 5 goals and an assist. It was a high-scoring game, credit to Burnaby. But even, Colton Clark for the Salmon Bellies had 4 goals and 4 assists. Noah Armitage had a goal and 8 assists for 9 points. He had a huge night. Jason Jones, a goal and 4 assists. Like we mentioned, 4 goals and assists for Keegan Ball. Then on the other side of the floor, Torrin Eccleston had 3 goals and 4 assists and 7-point night for him. And a lot. There's really 2 guys who were scoring for the Lakers in this one, which is maybe where that downfall was, where it was mostly just Eccleston and Dunbar. Maybe they needed a bit more on that side of the floor.
And that was it for the WLA. They have no weekend games this weekend, just like the MSL, Canada Day weekend, and we've decided to close shop. Makes no sense to me. Everybody's off. You can get good crowds, but we're closing up shop. CFL did the same thing. No sense at all to me. Anyways, we'll move over to the East and the MSL, and only had a couple of games to talk about there. Brampton was involved in both of them. Lucas Nagy continues to make a point that he is a goalie that should be looked at by the NLL. Brampton lost this game 6-3. You're talking about these heavy scoring games out west. This was 6-3 to Brooklyn, but it's not as though there weren't any shots. There was 51-41 in favor of Brooklyn by the end of this game. In fact, Brooklyn had 22 shots in the first period. Lucas Nagy gave up 1 goal. Now, if your goalie can give up only 6 goals, if you have any form of offense whatsoever, you can win this game. Brampton is still looking for this particular offense. Jack Boyden opened up the scoring in the first. Henry Follows tied it up for Brampton. Tristan Hanna and Brady Kiernan also put goals in for Brooklyn, which gave it 3-1 after 2 periods. Brampton brought it to 3-2 with Robert Hudson. Connor Kiernan got a goal. It became 4-2. Carter Zavitz made it 4-3. But Kyle Waters and Ryan Keenan put in a couple of goals at the end. And this game was over, and it was 6-3 for Brooklyn. Good pitchers duel. Over the next night, Brampton then went over to Peterborough. And, you would expect that after that, maybe Brampton was just fit for the taking. Peterborough did win the game, but again, they won 9-7. Once again, Lucas Nagy in net. And once again, he faced 57 shots. So he made 50 saves. Still making a case that maybe somebody in the NLL should have a look. For the Lakers, Drew Hutchison and net had a good game as well. Josh Courier opened up the scoring for Peterborough. Mike Robinson, and then Mike Robinson again. One was shorthanded, one was full strength. 3-0 for Peterborough after 1, and it really looked like they were going to run away with this game. Enter Brampton in the second period with a 5-2 period. Rory Graham got the first goal unassisted for Brampton. Austin Hazens then made it 4-1. Josh Medeiros on a power play made it 4-2. Turner Evans 5-2. And then getting 3 in a row from the Excelsiors. Hudson, Goddard, and Portelli. And this thing was tied 5-5 after 2. But, quite the game happening. Brampton actually took the lead a couple of minutes into the third period with Curtis Goddard scoring off an Andrew Bergotti pass. And then came what seems to be the MO for Peterborough this year, the Peterborough third period. Josh Courier holding Katoni with 2 in a row, and Mike Robinson, and this game was out of reach. With 15 seconds left, James Whiteford scored for Brampton, but that just made it 9-7. Too little, too late. Peterborough comes away with the narrow victory. And that was it for the week, guys. There was only 2 MSL games. Upcoming this week, Brampton is playing in Six Nations on Tuesday. Doesn't get easier for them. Six Nations then travels to Brooklyn on Wednesday. Thursday, there's a pair of games. Brooklyn goes to Brampton, and Coburg faces Peterborough in Peterborough. And on the 9th, next Sunday night, Brooklyn heads over to Coburg and has a battle over there, and that is the week of MSL.
And I believe Six Nations at this point, Six Nations and Peterborough just need one win each to pretty much secure a playoff spot. So with Brampton already at 2-9.
Yeah, and Coburg 2-6. They've played less than everybody else, but I don't think Brampton's going to catch Coburg either. Honestly, tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And Six Nations and Peterborough are tied 7-2.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
Yeah, so they can. So I mean, say the 16-game season, so they can pretty much lock up playoff spots.
The 20th is going to be a big game for those two because right now they're 1-1.
Yep.
So Brooklyn 4-3 and Coburg 2-6, of course, to round out the standings there. Now we are back into the PLL business this coming weekend as they get all their players back, and we have our 4 games, which start Saturday, July the 8th, with a 6 o'clock Eastern game. Remember, this is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The Water Dogs face Chrome at 6. The Cannons face Atlas at 8:30. On the Sunday, you have a 2 p.m. Redwoods versus Chaos game and a 4:30 Whipsnakes versus Archers game. So it'd be interesting to see everybody with their allegiances back. They're not playing against each other again. I'll bet all the guys on the Cannon or on the Chaos are going to be happy to be together again, and they can compare medal colors. But that is the week that was. Any extra things, guys? Shawn?
No, just looking forward. I know we're past the halfway mark here with the WLA, and playoff hunt is going to start heating up here, so really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And there's some interesting things with the players signed and traded and see how they're going to work into the lineups coming down the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Mike, any words?
I don't know who's going to stop Langley at this point. Keep an eye on that race for the 4th spot in WLA with Maple Ridge and Victoria. And honestly, that they're not looking great as of late, but Burnaby's only a couple games out of that spot as well. So
that's another team that can turn it on and flick the switch too, that you might have to watch out for.
Yeah.
Eduardo's going for the Archers. Atlas. Atlas. Just like Burgo. Anyways. It's been a busy couple of weeks there, traveling around, doing a World Lacrosse thing, also getting all the Indigenous thing, and not knowing what to do with all the rest of my time. Well, I'll do 5 MSL games. How about that? And then, say, thank goodness we get the PLL again. Because I tell you what, guys, we've been spoiled with the PLL. I didn't think that would ever come out of my mouth. But watching the World Championships and, yes, there was a drinking game going on yesterday. For every time they mentioned that there was no shot clock. So, somewhere around the 11th time, my bottle emptied. And I just made for a long evening trying to figure out what I was doing. Yeah. But yeah, having a shot clock in the PLL, having a little bit smaller dimensional field, having the 2-point goal arc. These are all things that I didn't think would be very much into my psyche, but not having them there, I miss it. And when you have a team as good as the U.S. or Canada or Haudenosaunee, they're that good with the ball and they're that good passing against a team that is not. This just is an unfair advantage when you talk about having no shot clock. Because occasionally you'll see a flag go up for stalling, and even then that really doesn't do much because then they just have to stay in the box. So, this kind of puts a little bit more of a fair thing to a team that can't pass as well. Just evening out playing fields again. Because, to see 25-2 scores doesn't really throw me any.
To be honest, Gary, if I could add something, we were talking about viewership and wanting the guys to watch the game. After a while, it got boring with the no shot clock because, as you mentioned, especially those good teams, they just held the ball because they didn't have to do anything, and it turned out, I hate to say it, a little bit boring.
Yeah, it doesn't have that kind of fervor that the PLL is obviously going for. They want a fast-paced game and lots of scoring and lots of opportunities, and it works. That's why it's there. But to say also to have that 2-point arc, I didn't think I would be, like, well, whatever, kind of like remembering to see old NBA games that didn't have the 3-point shot. And, what a difference that makes, especially in playoffs, especially in NCAA. You look at that. Well, putting that 2-point goal arc in there changes the atmosphere of a game like this. 2 of those, and it doesn't matter how big a lead you got, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And having guys who have 110 and 115 mile an hour shots is very easy for those to all of a sudden accumulate. So nothing is out of the realm of possibility for a victory. Here, once it starts getting, 8-1, 10-2, 12-3, you know that this is out of the realm of a team that they're not going to score 9 times. So, you can just kind of put your feet up and go, well, next game.
Right.
So, in the interest of it all, maybe it's time to start looking at some of these, maybe not all of those, but some of these things to start. If you want to have some of the other nations start moving their way upward, this might be the right way to help them along to doing it. And I don't think it's compromising the game at all. Just a thought.
No, I agree. I think it has to start with, personally, I just think it has to start with the shot clock, just for a viewership standpoint. If we want to get eyes on the game,
things moving, right?
Yeah. And then maybe then in time it's time to look at the 2-point line, because I agree. I completely agree. It can turn a game on its head with something like that, and definitely help those nations that are still developing. But I think it has to start with the viewership and make the game a little bit more exciting on the international level by bringing that shot clock in.
Well, I relish it to baseball, and the pitcher throwing it to first base 10 times in a row. They've taken that out. Why? Because it slows the game down.
Yeah.
Well, same thing with passing it 22 times amongst yourselves as you're going around in circles around the net, just trying to kill some clock.
Yeah, because if I'm Team Canada, I'm up by a few goals against a weaker team. I'm just passing the ball around. I know I can keep it in the box, and even with the stall warning, I can keep it in the box and just kill a minute, 2 minutes off the clock.
Absolutely. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. Shot clock is going to keep the game moving and kind of force all teams to have a plan, when they get in the offensive zone. So.
And hearing about people bellying about officiating in the World Cup, man, you know how quickly they're moving. And to have 3 guys trying to cover that big a territory and to be on top of 97% of everything that went on, I'd say that their officiating is in pretty good shape from all over the place. Were there a couple of things missed? Of course there is. Is there a couple of things missed all the time? Of course there is. They're human. It's a human aspect of the game. Is it unfortunate? Sure. Do we need to turn everything upside down? Heck no. And to watch this live and watch them running up and down in front of me, man, are they ever chugging it along. And to be in position for, like I say, about 97% of what's going on, honestly, I don't think that we have any trouble whatsoever. Lay off the refs. They did a bang-up job for 107 games, including the championship games. They weren't the ones that shut down the Canadian offense. That would be the U.S. defense. Remember that Canadian offense only got 7 goals, right? So anybody who's belly aching about it because of the referee, you're looking for excuses.
No.
Those Canadians they get. U.S. deserved that victory. Simple. They were best at each.
They were the better team.
Absolutely. Coaching wise, they had a better plan. They also had better adjustments. Everything else is, splitting hairs. One day Canada will win, one day the U.S. will win. But the U.S. on this day was the better team, and they had the better strategy. And they were able to contain Byrne. They were able to contain Teat. They were able to contain Berg. They were able to contain anybody else you were thinking about. Williams. They were able to contain anybody you could think of in there. And they tried. Man, they tried all kinds of things. They weren't able to get they weren't able to get even strength goals. Their first couple of goals were all on power plays. The way that they had everything schemed was perfect. And they weren't going to get outrun. So they were very agile also. So did they deserve it? Yes. Congratulations, United States. You deserve the gold medal. Absolutely. 100%. You had a great tournament, undefeated, and most of the time we're walking over your competition. So simple.
At one point, I just wanted to make earlier about O'Neill.
Mhm.
He's a college kid still.
Yeah, he
That's
just won a
unreal.
Duke award too.
Yeah.
He's got another year to go over at Duke. So,
Look out.
You want to see an interesting thing? Let's watch him next year. I'm watching these guys. Well, maybe he's better at midfield. Come on. The guy was an acclaimed attacker, winning all these awards. He just happened to be in that right position to fill in that role, and he's that good. If he becomes ambidextrous, he's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But as a player, he's phenomenal. As are everyone else on that U.S. team. Just like the Canadian team. These programs are so far ahead of everything right now that I'm really looking forward to watching some of these other programs gain some traction now and start playing them more, that they know where they stand and what they have to do. And then it's really going to get interesting for all of us because we all win. As these nations come up, we all win. We get more exciting, more interesting games because it's not, the U.S. has won 11. Canada's won 3, and I don't think anybody else has won. Wouldn't it be cool? Wasn't it cool the first time that like Finland won the World Cup of hockey? Wasn't that cool? Yeah, we could sit there and sulk it wasn't our team. But, man, that meant some program caught up. It's amazing.
And not to prolong this, that's why I'm actually kind of excited to see Japan if they end up on Pool A now, because they played excellent against some lower teams. Let's see what they can do with those upper echelon guys now. Could they give them a game? Because that would be awesome if they could, couldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They did good in the playoffs as well, playing upper echelon teams. So, can they do it? Sure they can. Are they on the cusp of doing something really great? Yes.
Yeah.
So let's leave it there, guys. Just remember that we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on Twitter, and we are on YouTube at All Lacrosse all the time on all of them. Remember to check back 2, 3, 4 times a day because if you've been following us over the last while, the news is always changing, and we are on top of it all. We have our fingers on the pulse of the situation. As well, you can check us out at www.eopsports.com/lacrosse. Or if you're looking for some of the other stuff on there, there are many other articles from many other writers in many other sports. So you can check it all out at your one-stop shop at eopsports.com. But remember, we are here every Sunday night at 9 p.m. We appreciate your patronage every week. We look forward to seeing you guys again next week, 9 o'clock Eastern, guys. Until then, for Shawn Slaght is just south of Moose Jaws this evening and the roving tour that will be going ahead. For Muffler Mike, who is in Connecticut, I am Gary Groob in Toronto, wishing you the best of weeks. Remember to keep your stick in your hand. Until next week, guys.